the last few months, I've received a lot of inquiries from you all regarding my mealworm farming operation. Apparently, you all want me to do more videos showing you kind of my day-to-day activities. So I thought I would do a video today on a product that's similar to one that I have used myself, that I had somebody make for me, and it's a mealworm pupa sifter. It is for sale on Amazon. We're going to put it together and we're going to put it to use and see if it works. Let's go take a look. Here is the Pupae Sifter. It is from a company called Mealworm Farming Solutions. Appears to come with instructions. Not too much to it. Seems like it's pretty simple. It's got some hardware and it's got the sieve, which is made out of aluminum. So let's go ahead and take this out of the packaging and put it together. After opening the package and taking quick inventory, I poured out the contents of the small plastic bag and immediately tightened the nuts on each of the U-bolts as instructed. Once this was done, I took a U-bolt, put it through one set of holes on the sifter, added the 2 lock washers and the 2 additional nuts, and hand tightened. I repeated this process for the other 2 U-bolts, and once all 3 U-bolts were installed the same way, I used a 7/16 inch bit on a ratchet to tighten them down completely. And there you have it. This installation was quick and easy, and the sifter was ready for use. All right, so now that I have the Pupae sieve set up, you can use it with a 5-gallon bucket, or you can use it with these circular strainers that you can buy on Amazon as well, that I've bought before and I use with my mealworm farming system already. Let's give it a shot with just the bucket. It should sit about 3 to 4 inches away from the top. That feels pretty snug. I don't see any gaps anywhere around the edge, so that's good. And looks like I'm going to be able to pull that out later with these handles. I've got a mealworm bin here, and what I'm going to do, because I know from vast experience, I'm going to go ahead and take out all of these big pieces of food items first, because that's just going to clog up the pupa sieve. So we're going to put it in and see if this sifts out the pupa. I'm going to give it a little shake here. Oh, I left a carrot in there. You can see as you shake, it is letting the mealworms fall through and keeping the pupa on top, which it's supposed to do. So that much is good. Wow, that worked really great. I don't see really any mealworms that are stuck in the sieve. It looks like most of them went down. And now we're going to, of course, try and take this out very carefully. And I'm only using one hand because I've got to keep my other hand on my camera. But let me see if I can somehow get this up, and we'll transfer it. This is kind of difficult because I'm trying to grab this with just one hand, but look at that. All those pupa. That is awesome. And just with a simple tap, look at that. That is fantastic. And you can see in here, it's just all mealworms down there in the bucket. Doesn't seem to have let any pupa fall through at all. That makes it super easy to separate the mealworms from the pupa. I can't believe how easy that was. So let's try that again. I'm going to put the mealworms and the food substrate back with the pupa, and let's try it out in one of these circular strainers. This one that I use is a GP2 130, which is a 1/30th of an inch mesh. I find that lets the frass fall through pretty well. This one is a GP2 18, which is 1/8 inch mesh, and I find that this one traps most of the mature mealworms on top. Some of the smaller mealworms will fall through, but they won't fall through this mesh because it is too small for them to squeeze through. So all you'll get falling through this is frass. So together you get separation of large mealworms if you wanted to collect some for feeding to your animals. They'll stay mostly on top. Those should be the ones that are mature for harvesting. Anything that's smaller will fall through here along with the food substrate, and you can put that back in your bin so that you can allow them to continue to grow. With those two stacked like that, let's put this mealworm pupa sifter inside. Now it says in the instructions that it's not going to sit all the way to the bottom of the circular strainer, and I can see that that's definitely true here. I don't know if you can see on this video, but if you look, there is a gap between the base here, this mesh on the bottom, and the plate. I would say it's probably a 1/2 inch in spots all the way up to 1 inch on the outside perimeter, but this thing feels snug here. I don't see any gaps. So let's put this all together one more time, and let's see if that's how we get it to work. I've got this together, put it like that, and let's try sifting one more time. Gentle shake here. I find that when you shake in line with the length of the slots, that it's easier to get things to fall through than if you try to shake perpendicular to those slots. So I always try to shake in the same direction as the slots themselves. All right, so there you have it. Looks like it worked like a charm again. Now you see there are still a couple of mealworms that get trapped because they're just so big. I think if you stood here and you shook this for a long time, you would get them all to fall through. But you also, the more you shake it, the more you risk damaging your pupa. So as long as the majority of the mealworms fall through, I think that that's a win, because I have seen pupa sieves that the slots are too wide and almost everything falls through, your pupa and your mealworms, and it defeats the purpose. So I'd rather have a couple of mealworms hanging around on top than a lot of pupa falling through. So again, just with the handle here, easily lift that out. Look at that, I'm doing that with one hand. Look at all those pupa. Man, that is so neat that it works so well. And with a simple tap, look at that. All the pupa fall out very easily. And now you can see on top here that I actually had a couple of beetles in here too. Look at that. But you can see that there's no pupa that fell through, but you were able to collect all the mature mealworms here on top. And if you pull this off, now you can see that all of your food substrate that is still good food substrate that you can use, that they can still eat, is trapped on the second layer, and smaller mealworms that would fall through that 1/8 inch mesh on the top sieve. And the only thing that falls through is the frass, which you can use in your gardens and also your landscaping to make all of your plants nice and strong. So you can harvest this and store it away. You can put the food substrate with the smaller mealworms back into another tray, and you can even combine your mature mealworms with it if you'd like, or you can start to harvest your mature mealworms now. Again, these are ones that are big enough for your animals to consume. They're ready. If you leave them any longer, guess what? They're going to turn into pupa. And let's say that you don't want to use all of these at once. The great thing about mealworms is you can put them in the refrigerator at normal refrigerator temperatures, and they go into like a hibernation state. You can keep them for a couple of weeks like that or more. Pick a few out when you're ready to feed them to your animals, and they'll liven up again, and your animals will have a live treat. They won't go bad, and they won't turn into pupa in your refrigerator. So it's a good way to store your mature ones. Of course, if you're trying to make pupa because you want to make beetles, because you want to keep your colony growing, then certainly keep some of your mealworms separate, put them in the bin, let them turn into pupa, let those turn into beetles, and then separate your beetles and put them into a separate bin so they can make eggs and complete the cycle. So there you have it, my true review of the Mealworm Farming Solutions Round Pupa Sifter. I can say without reservation that this is a 5-star product. I really like the fact that it's made out of metal, and a lightweight metal at that, in that it's made out of aluminum. I have used plastic and wooden models that are similar, and the problem with those is that the slats tend to break because they're so thin and any little bit of movement to try and get pupa that are stuck can end up breaking those slats. And when that happens, your sifter is worthless and you have to buy a new one. Well, this here seems very sturdy, very strong. I don't think you're gonna have any problem whatsoever keeping this for a long, long time. I also like the fact that it has handles. I have never seen another model with handles. It makes it so easy to take the unit out and to put it into either the 5-gallon bucket or the circular strainer if you're gonna use it in that configuration. With other models, when you don't have those handles, a lot of times the sifter will get stuck, and the only way to get it out is to turn the whole unit over and to bang it out. And when you do that, your sifter comes crashing down, and then if there's any pupa stuck in between the slats, well, they get crushed. There is a gap created underneath the sifter by virtue of the fact that the U-bolts extend down through the holes and leave a little bit of a space underneath. So in the situation where you need to take the sifter out and put it down on a flat surface, you're gonna end up with some space underneath. And again, if you have pupa caught in between the slats, they're not gonna get crushed. So there you have it. I really like this product. I think it's better than the one that my welder friend made for me, believe it or not. So I'm going to continue using this in my daily mealworm farming system. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please give a thumbs up and stay tuned for more Rancher Mike TRU reviews. And until next time, take care.